Hi guys, so I've come to the heart of Manchester this morning, and behind me I've got Mappin and Webb, and then right here are all of the shops, what shops you could ever want to visit in the centre of Manchester. Now there's only two Rolex authorised dealers. There's Mappin and Webb down there, and then there's David M. Robinson right here. So I'm on, I believe, St. Anne's Square. So I'm going to go and see what the current state of the market is. And also, if you see massive watch shops there, and then as you go down St. Anne's Square, you've got a Goldsmiths behind me, but they're not an authorised dealer. So I've come early to noisy Manchester to see what the market is like and whether I can pick up some information on the current state of the market. So in the centre of Manchester, there's only two authorised dealers, guys, for Rolex. There's a Breitling AD, there's an Omega AD, there's pretty much everything, and they're all in one section. There's also a pawnbroker around the corner and another shop I'm going to go and look at. They sell pre-owned luxury Rolexes. Stick around, this could be interesting. So what happened? Not a lot, guys. I went to two authorized dealers, Mappin and Webb and DMR, and they had nothing available. Now I was wearing a Rolex, I was wearing a Rolex baseball cap, and I did not need an appointment. I got seated straight away, and I was spoken to in a very respectful manner. Now I said to both sales rep in both authorized dealers, hey, I'm a collector. Hey, I've got a relationship with other authorized dealers, but I'm in the market for a new watch. What do you have available? So remember, I'm wearing this watch because if you want to buy a Rolex, you really should be wearing one, guys. And I pretty much expected there was nothing available for sale, and there wasn't, guys. There was nothing, unless you want a full go Rolex. I'm not that guy. Now DMR, they're quite good. They actually have stock in the window. They had Datejust. They had pretty much all the watches you'd expect. I didn't actually get into their Rolex section because it was actually chock full of customers. Can you believe that? At, I believe, 11 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday morning, they had customers laughing and joking, maybe purchasing, maybe picking up watches. I don't know. The other shop, which is called Mappin and Webb, had nobody in there. It was a dead zone, and the watches they had in the window were pretty much uneventful. What I managed to achieve was I managed to go in there and find out information that will save you guys a lot of hassle. And here's what I'm going to tell you. The watch market might be dead, but the authorized dealers don't have any stock. If whatever stock they have, there is still too much demand for this stock. And there's only one steel watch available, guys, just one. And the waiting list for that is 2 to 6 months. And for me, it's one of my favorite watches, but it may not be yours. And I'm going to tell you which watch that is. And I'm going to tell you now, so it saves you a lot of hassle. It's a Yachtmaster 40, guys, stainless steel. I believe it's 10,500. It's a lot of money, but when you consider that a Datejust with all the bells and whistles is 9,500. For another 1,000, you get a lot more. You get the rhodium dial. This is not a review channel, but it's a much better watch if you ask me. That's it, guys. If you want an OP, forget it. Trust me, forget it. The waiting list is 2 to 3 years. The sales guy that I spoke to says they have to divvy up the watches between them. If I was his client, I would be looking at 2 to 3 years before I got an OP from him. And he only allocates 1 to 2 personally a year. Datejusts are the same. There isn't any, guys. Now with the less amount of watches in the pool, there is even more demand for what they have. I have inside information that just a blue dial has got 60 people on a waiting list for that simple watch, and yet you can't get it. You can move up and down the ladders all you like, guys, but even basic watches, Explorer 2s, in these shops, the standard Explorer wasn't available either. Now, I got a lot of information out of one AD, and I got the same information out of another AD, but very subtly. The other AD was, there is nothing, there's nothing, there's nothing, there's nothing, there's nothing. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. If you go into an authorized dealer for Rolex, they are taking your names now, which is something they didn't do before, but there is no stock available. So you're just basically wasting your time. And I found out some more information that was kind of annoying to me. There's only one new steel watch, okay? And the waiting lists are not open yet. And yet this shop, I'm not going to tell you which AD, has already had the new steel GMT and allocated to one of their clients and sold the watch. And even though the lists aren't open, so these watches that are coming in are being sold to selective customers. They're not available to guys like us. If you had rung up on the day of launch and you put your name in for this watch, you would have been wasting your time. I have an appointment with my AD in late July to look at all of the new 2024 releases, and yet I'm not saying they will have, but they're very highly likely to have had and sold these particular watches long before I get to view them and put my name on the list for these watches. This list that may or may not exist. I don't want to go around in circles here, but there is no watches available, right, at Rolex authorized dealers. Now, at Mappin and Webb, the girl was trying to get me to buy all manner of crap, which I wasn't interested in, and then she lost interest in me when she realized I wasn't buying an all gold watch. Very polite though. I'm not going to use her name, but I remember it. Then I left that store. I went to Tudor, and at Tudor I tried on the new, I call it the Roger Moore, but basically they call it the Mono. He said it a couple of times. I went, Mono? What do you mean Mono? It's basically their Submariner, isn't it? Their new Submariner on a 3-link bracelet. And it's a very nice watch, but it's still very rough for a £4,000 watch, guys. And the bracelet is not the same color as the case. And that watch with the fake rivets, it would just be a no for me. I have actually put my name on the list at that store for the 5-link bracelet, just to see how long it takes them to ring me and let me know one's available. But that new watch from Tudor was available to purchase on the 3-link, but apparently it's not that popular on a 3-link. And that was pretty much it for Tudor. They didn't have any of the other watches, the other 2 watches. They were just not available. So I have confirmed that there are no Rolex watches available to a walk-in first-time buyer unless you want a Yachtmaster. Still a fantastic watch, but if you want any other watch, forget it, you're wasting your time. Now, while I was in the area, I just popped into the Royal Exchange. It's literally right around the corner from these 2 Rolex ADs, and in there was a shop called Swiss Watch Shop, and I was shocked with the amount of Rolexes they were selling, and I was shocked at how reasonably priced these watches were. And they weren't old watches. They were very new and mainly up-to-date watches. I could have done a lot more content in there, but again, I'm not advertising for this company, so I just picked a few watches I thought were reasonable. They had a Kermit, very reasonably priced at 12 grand, 12 and a half grand. They had Submariners at just over 10,000. They had Batmans just under 12,000. They also had a Batgirl at 13,750, which is the going rate. This is what you see them on Facebook at. They also had my watch under MSRP, and it was, what year was it? I believe it was a 2019 though, but they did have a 2021 Blue Dial Yachtmaster for £450 above MSRP, and it looked genuine to me. Now, if you don't want to wait, just go straight there, because you just got to think about it. That Blue Yachtmaster could go up in January by another 5%, and that would then make the watch 11 grand, which is what this watch is selling for. I'm convinced that if you want a watch now, at the moment, you need to go to the grey market, guys. This is their window display. Now, it's very hard to film. I found it very difficult. People walk right up to your camera. People are rude and ignorant. And even when I was doing this particular video, this big lad almost pushed me out of the way to point to the guy, the watch, who wanted him to get out of the window. And he was getting him to pull this Batgirl out of the window because he wanted to buy it. There was the left-hand GMT there as well, which I thought was overpriced. But again, that's the current market of this, the current market value of these watches. I then went across the road to a company called Ramsden's, and God love them, they had a window full of crap. I mean, literally, some of these watches were older than me, and they weren't in great shape. Their prices are ridiculous. There wasn't one decent watch in the window. They might have Rolex wrote on the dials, but they were basically a window full of overpriced junk. Ramsden's, your prices are just ridiculous. But that's what they were selling them for, and yes, guys, they were in the sale. Old crappy old watches in the sale for 20 grand. Now, I don't know what to say to you guys. It was, what's the highlight? Well, I think the real highlight for me was a particular brand that I spotted. And I was taken aback by how beautiful the watches are. And these are the watches. Now, the company, I'd never heard of before. And I was looking at the watches and I thought, oh my God, these watches are fantastic. And I'm trying to watch my own video now to say the name of them, Stake Martin or Spake Martin. I can't begin to tell you what it's like to be into watches and see watches that are new, fresh and exciting. And those are new, fresh and exciting. They're called Spake Marin. Spake Marin. I was shocked how beautiful they were, and that was the highlight of my day. Spoiler alert, I did have money with me, and I would have purchased certain watches if they had been available. So quite clearly, there are no Rolex watches available for a first-time customer at any of the 2 authorized dealers in central Manchester. If you want a Rolex and you don't want to play that waiting game, it's very simple. You go to the Royal Exchange and you go to Swiss Watch Shop and you pay over MSRP without waiting. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I appreciate all my genuine subscribers. Remember, this is just a hobby to me. I am not trying to be famous. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe and continue watching the channel. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next video.